Hello and welcome to Jake's Metal Chat. I hope you're all well, staying safe, and all that. This is episode 21. I know, 21 episodes. And usually I have this to record straight away, but I don't think I did that on the actual meeting scheduling bit on Zoom. But I'm just waiting for my guest to come on. Pretty much told you who it was. Just going to turn the volume up a bit, maybe change that over. There we go. Just check if he got it. Again, there will be more Jake's Metal Chat videos to come. Got another one on the 19th of this month. Then I got another one in February. And that's as far as I've gotten so far, but I will be doing that, and I'm planning on doing my own little podcast. This is Jake's Metal Chat, as you know, and I might be doing that podcast, and I'm going to call it Jake's Metal Session, where not only am I going to be chatting to people, but playing music. I've already asked a couple of bands, and they're all good with me playing the music. I'm going to ask a few more bands, and also it's for those, like for musicians who don't want to do face-to-face video chats, which I think a lot of them are a bit like, I don't want to be on camera. So, well, I'll find an alternative, and we can do it where I play their music and then chat to them afterwards, or I chat to them first and then play a song, and then they can tell me a bit about the music, whatever. I know I'm still planning it. Just send a message to my guest because he should be on here by now. Well, he told me 10 minutes. I had to get myself a beer, and also it's my mate's birthday Zoom event as well. So I'm doing this, and then I'm going to be heading over there pretty much straight after this. I'm going to go downstairs and get some more beer and mead. I know it's got on handle. Come on. Don't know what else to really do. For anyone who's interested, on the 23rd of this month, 23rd of January, my mate Simon will be doing a live stream on Twitch with his podcast, The Metal Brethren Show, where he'll be playing a lot of various different bands, from Death Doom to Gore Grind to Brutal Death, just about anything relating to those genres. I'll be on there, chatting away, watching it on my laptop, and going on my phone to on the Twitch there, because for some reason when I try to sign into Twitch on my laptop, it won't let me. I have not updated my laptop in a while, so nothing of it's brand new yet. But once I do, then I'll be able to do things, and then I'll switch browsers. Probably, I'm not sure yet. But CDs, vinyl, tape, videos, they're all going to be coming. I'm just sorting them all out. I'm still waiting for a couple of CDs. I mean, one of my other CDs that I bought that came from 2020 is here. And I'm pretty sure there was another one I forgot to put in the photo I did on my Facebook page. So those who know me on Facebook would have seen it. And I'm planning on making a Jake's Metal Chat video. Not video, sorry, group. I'm talking about. But yeah, the Jake's Metal Session is going to be a podcast version of this. And obviously, as an alternative for those who don't want to do face-to-face vid chats, like FaceTime chats like on here. Just a little bit of alternative, and anyone who's been on here before can go on there as well, if you so desire. Still waiting on my guest. You'll be here when he gets there. I'll give you a little bit about my guest. He runs a festival that has been happening since 2012, and we're going to get onto that. And he also runs a radio station. I was going to say radio show, but he has a radio show on the radio station. The radio station is called Top Rock Radio, and his show's on pretty much Sundays and Tuesdays mainly. I think he has a couple that happen on Wednesday. He just streams music on a Wednesday that I've noticed. Gonna see. No, nothing on Twitch from him as of yet. But if you want to check out his stuff, we'll discuss that and you'll find out yourself. I don't want to give too much away. Just chatting about it. He's probably just getting a beer for all I know. Yeah, I usually do my chats around 5 p.m. usually. But yeah, and you've probably noticed on some of my chats, my camera's gone out a few times. Don't know what's up with that. We'll have to sort it out. I'm just going to mess with you again. Just give him a message. Yeah, if anyone's got any suggestions for me to do any more, like if you got anyone you know that's in a band that I should be checking out, then let me know and I'll go check them out. Mainly the stuff that I listen to is a lot of death metal. I listen to a lot of folk metal as well, and yeah, that's really about it. And also, if you want to go check out some more like metal related news, check out my friends at Questionable Life Choices, or QLC for short. They've been putting on a lot of gigs when we could still put on gigs, and if you want to go follow them on the page, and if you want to go follow what they're doing, then go on Facebook. Well, I'll link it down below, and I hope they don't mind me doing that. Okay, my guest saying Zoom's being a pain in the ass for him because he's not picking up his camera. Well, I didn't know what Zoom was until March last year. Oh, there's going to be probably plenty of that on this chat. So yeah, recommendations. I've already recommended one before because I had him as a guest on here, but still go check out Phil's Breakfast Metal, the Metal Brethren Show, and QLC, Questionable Life Choices, because I went on a Discord early this morning and it was tons of fun. Just waiting on my guest to sort his camera out because I think Zoom's been. I don't know how people have been coping with Zoom lately. But yeah, that's just the general updates I'm going to give on like what videos I'm doing. So band related content on my part. Well, I'll update you on my own bands when I've actually got something to update you on. I mean, the cover for my band Aventel, or EP cover's done. We just got to get the rest of it recorded because we just got to get the rest of the songs done, and then we can get it mixed and mastered and then get it released. As for Herbicidal, not too much is happening now, I'm afraid. But if anyone's decide that, okay, let's try and get some music done, we'll try and get some music done. And probably can't hear that, but dogs are howling and whatnot. Well, I hope I can get this chat with my guest. Oh, is this? This is going to go nowhere. I'll have to stop this one and then do it again. Might as well say T-shirt is Insomnium, Black Heart Rebellion T-shirt. So I've got some Finnish melodic death metal. Saw them in January last year at Feckler, which was fantastic. I'm just going to check the participant list. He's not waiting, and looking at the picture, I still got a picture of Blackbeard. Sorry if you're getting bored already. You can make fun of how I look. I don't know. I mean, I could just pause it and wait until he gets on. Oh no, wait. Something's happening. We have a guest!
Right, hang on, volume. Hang on, bear with me.
Bear with him, folks.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Don't stop shouting.
Brilliant. Let's turn you up a little bit more. Fucking OBS, the thing that I use for Twitch, disables your camera on Zoom.
Oh, does it now? For fuck's sake.
So I've worked it out. How are you, Jake? You all right, mate?
I'm okay, Jim. How you doing?
I'm good. Fucking technology.
Technology sucks. Just saying to the folks that, like the folks on YouTube, like Zoom can be a bit of a ball ache.
Oh, yeah. Hey, we're doing better than they do, though.
Well, yeah.
Because you watch them, they're rubbish. I mean, you watch so many, and they're always muted or not working at all.
It's like someone does a meeting, that the person who's doing the meeting is muted. It's just like, what are you saying? You want me to do what? You want me to order 10 pizzas? Oh, okay, I'll order 10 pizzas.
I have done a few of these Zooms, like earlier on in the first lockdown, but I've forgotten how to use it all.
Yeah, I didn't know about Zoom until, March last year?
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it before then.
Didn't know what it was. I knew Skype, and I couldn't use Skype for a while, and I was like, what am I going to do then? Oh, Facebook chat. And then Zoom's like, oh, this is much better.
I haven't used Skype years.
I used Skype for one video that I did with one of the guests that I had on here. We reviewed City by Strapping Young Lad.
Well, yeah, I used to use Skype for interviews many years ago, but I've not been asked recently. To be honest with you, just not been. Well, more hassle than they're worth at the moment. Apart from you, of course. Always got time for you, Jack.
Yes, of course you have time. Got to give some time to the Beerman here. Well, welcome to Jake's Metal Chat. You are the 21st guest. This is episode 21. Number 21.
21 today.
21 today. Started this back in May. I'm already on 21 videos.
That's good going, actually. That is good going.
That is good.
It's giving you plenty of practice to get used to me as well.
Yeah, I got to get used to this, man, and then whenever I start doing my own podcast radio thing, I'm going to just get tons of drunken comments from you going, "This is good. I'm too wasted." Blah. Like, and everybody.
Exactly how it is.
But that's what makes it worthwhile for the people watching this. If you don't know who this man is, you should do. For all the people that have been to the festival behind him, this is Jim Biermann. He's the organizer of Beermageddon, which is a great festival, I have to say. Up Stokes Prior, on a football field, which, if you want to play some football, play some drunken games, which I did, where you had to hit a bottle and down your drink with a Dequisa slot. Yeah. And also, he runs Top Rock Radio, and he has a show on there called The Jim Beerman Show, where he plays tons and tons of different music, and also likes to chat with people, and then sometimes he likes to do a loud burp into the microphone.
Hey, you'll probably get one of those today.
Oh, I did one earlier when I was waiting
there.
for you to come on. I'm on the Steam Brew. I don't know if you heard of this. Steam Brew.
It rings a bell. What's the brewery?
That is the brewery.
Steam Brewery, is it?
Steam Brewery, yeah. Or Steam
Yeah,
Steam
I've
Brew.
heard of them. I don't think I've had it.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I bought some when I went to
Hobgoblin.
Lidl. Hobgoblin, always the choice of a lot of metalheads. Choice of a lot of metalheads, and I'm drinking mine out of my nice little stone here.
Oh, you've got a posh glass. It comes. See this. It comes in its own glass. No washing up needed.
No. Well, I got.
You got to think about the wife, you know. Speaking of cups, it's my treasured cup. I don't know if you can see this because I got my background on. That's the ecology rooms.
Oh yeah.
Down Deal in Kent, which was the recording studios run by the late great Chris Tangarides. I was down there a couple of years ago, and I'd say I pilfered one of his mugs. I did ask his permission, but yeah. So it's one of those that doesn't get used now because it's a treasured possession. So it sits up in the studio with me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like I do not drink from this cup.
That's it. It's too good to drink from.
Yeah, I got a big cup with mustaches on it, with different mustaches, and Lemmy's mustache appears on it.
Oh, yes.
Big oversized cup. I tried drinking out of it, but it looked like the handle was about to give way. So I was like, nope, that's treasured now.
Speaking of, I've got another one here. Hang on.
Oh, I'm just gonna.
You mentioned
Motorhead.
Lemmy. It's all back to front because I'm mirrored. But yeah, Motorhead mug. And Boydie gave me that many years ago. Yeah, Boydie's no longer with us. I've just got the mugs of people no longer with us anymore.
Yeah, we lost quite a few people in the
Beermageddon. A lot of people.
Survivors. You know,
that's it.
We lost too many of them.
Quite a few over the years.
We lost too many of those guys. And we'll probably
always be remembered by us. That's the one thing, they'll always be part of us and always with us in spirit.
That's the thing. When we're at Beermageddon doing drunken games and whatnot, they're there probably just taking the piss out of us.
Looking down on us.
Just like you crazy fuckers. But anyway, this is what I ask all my guests. Well, I'm going to get this one out of the way. How was when COVID hit, when the lockdown happened, the first lockdown, I mean, did you go crazy at all?
I didn't know. It's a weird thing because I throughout the lockdowns, I've literally carried on doing everything that I always did. I still do my radio shows. I'm still doing all the other business. I'm a director over at Switch, and like Switch obviously remained on air because that's like on FM and DAB. That remained on air throughout. The only thing is I've just not been going into their studios and into the offices. I've been doing all my work from here. But apart from the one thing that I've missed and the one thing that has really hit me is a lack of live music.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, beginning of last year, I tend to be very lazy in January and don't go out much in January. So I got something like 3 gigs in February, and then February and March, and then it was lockdown. And so that's the one thing I really missed. It is the live music.
I think everyone can relate to that. I mean, one of the gigs I went to was Insomnium in January.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get that at the gig.
Good band live.
I got this for Christmas. Great band.
I think it was Insomnium many, many years ago at Bloodstock. I'm terrible. Number one, I should wear glasses. I don't recognise anybody. And like you'll get mixed up with a meal quite often, by me.
This is a funny story, actually. This was at one Beermageddon. It might have been 2018. One guy was just talking to me about a gig, and I was just talking about a band and then the gig that it was at, and he just said, "Oh, that was great, Emil." I was like, I'm not Emil. If you don't know who Emil is, he's a bit taller than me, but for some stupid reason,
you do have a little resemblance.
We just get mistaken for one another, but there's a little bit of resemblance.
That's it. But anyway, it was at Bloodstock a good few years ago. And we were backstage because we were there on media. And we're chatting to these guys. And I thought, oh, they're very nice. And they've got a big cooler full of beer and they're sharing this beer with us. And me and Mrs. J chatting away. Got to have been for about an hour. And she says, oh, we've got to go now. So I said, nice talking to you. See you later. Off we've gone. I've gone to Mrs. J. I've gone, they were bloody nice, weren't they? I wonder who they were. She's gone, that was bloody Insomnium. I recognise nobody. I have no shame over it. You know, I honestly just don't recognise people.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, I think some people just only recognise me just by when people say, "Oh yeah, my mate Jake's gone to all these gigs," and then they're like, "Are you Jake that people keep going on about?" Maybe.
So I get that people obviously recognise me more than I recognise them.
That's true.
And they'll come up chatting to me at gigs and things, and I'm like, I feel as though I should know this person, but I haven't got a clue.
It's like,
and they know all about my life. And of course, the thing is, I'm on the radio and I'm talking about my life, and I'll talk about my little dog and what I'm doing that week and all of that.
Sing your dog.
So yeah, they all know all my everything about me, and they come chatting. And I'm like a complete loss, and it turns out I've never met them before. You know, and it's like, it's nice meeting you, and off we go.
Yeah, basically that's that. People know me just by what other mates of mine have said about me, and I'm like, I don't know who you are, but you seem all right. You seem pretty cool. And
but yeah, COVID has been horrible for live music.
Horrible for live music. Couldn't go out. Some countries actually managed to do some gigs and festivals. There was one festival in Italy where everyone was still, they had to go wear masks, but they all sat down. They couldn't stand up and do mosh pits or anything. Obviously, lack of contact. Yeah.
I was going to one in October that was all going to be seated, but then they came in with the tears and that ruined it. But I was sure we were going to be able to have Beermageddon last year, and I was
I thought last minute. Well, maybe you could just have people sat down or something, but then how would that have worked?
All the venues were back open again, and with our numbers, we wouldn't have been too dangerous, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it does make sense. No, it wouldn't have been too dangerous. No,
it was purely we could have gone ahead, but we were right when the venues reopened again, and the licensing authority were like the central government basically passed a buck over onto all the local licensing authorities, who were there going, we're not granting any licensing. No, we're not giving this, this festival a license in case something happens. And that was the only reason why we didn't, because we might have been the only festival to actually happen. It was looking like it, because obviously we're not of a big size.
No.
So we don't have to make those decisions as early as some of the other ones. Like, for instance, the big one by us is Bloodstock. It's 2 weeks before. They're having to make their decisions like 12 weeks ahead, whereas we can half that. We can put the entire infrastructure together in about 5-6 weeks. So we could hold on. Venues reopened again at the beginning of August. I thought, yes, we're in. And then it fell at the last hurdle with a license. We joined the list of casualties of 2020.
Yeah, there you go. And Bloodstock's always the one that I go to all the time because it's in August. It's usually good weather, so you don't have to worry about rain all the time. Fortunately, it rained in 2019, but not too much.
I haven't been for a few years, but the one thing with me is 2 weeks before, I'm full on neck deep in Beermageddon stuff, so I just can't get time to do it anymore.
No,
July, I can do festivals in July, June and July, but then August, it's completely all Beermageddon for me. And then I always have On Board the Craft in September, which is a hippie festival. It's brilliant. Sonic Rock, On Board the Craft. I'm there. My inner hippie is out. You know what I mean? I'm all peace and flowers and, peace, flowers and beer.
Groovy.
That's my chill out, and that's the time when I get to have a rest after Beermageddon before we go into like the autumn and winter. You know, last
Yeah,
one of the year for
that
me.
sort of thing. Yeah, because I do Bloodstock where I just always lose my shit and then wake up feeling like shit, as you do, and then it's the
Oh,
same.
yeah, I've done a good few bloodstocks. I think also I've got to be honest with you. I know this sounds terrible, but I'm a bit too old for it now. It's a little on the big side for me now.
Yeah, I see what you mean, but
Yeah.
I like Bloodstock as opposed to download because with
You see,
Bloodstock,
download
you can walk from wherever you camped
yeah.
to the entrance to the arena. It doesn't take you that long, and it takes you like a 2 minute walk
It's
just to get to the main
it's still
stage.
knackering for me.
Yeah,
Whereas download, I mean, I've always had an open invite to download, but number one, the numbers terrify me.
yeah,
That many people. I mean, I'm not a big crowd person anyway.
no,
The numbers terrify me, and the walking. Even though I was told I could camp right by the stage, but yeah, I appreciate that offer, but I've just it's just I'm getting. I like the little ones
yeah,
where I can park next to me tent and just roll a few yards into a venue or to a
yeah.
stage.
That's what is great about your festival. You
Yeah,
park on the
well,
field,
that's
take
it.
your tent out, and just put it there.
I basically put Beermageddon together with everything that I wanted in a festival. How many times have you heard someone say, "Oh, you don't like that about a festival? Go and do your own." And I thought, yeah, why not? Let's go and do my own.
Do your own festival.
Yeah,
Why
and
not?
like, everything that I enjoy, like the intimacy. That's why Beermageddon will never go any bigger. There's no plans ever to take it any bigger than it is
No.
because I like the size and I like how it all,
Yeah, it's a good size, and everybody's close by, so you can just go
yeah.
chat to people. I mean,
And
it's
you're
like
there,
that at
you
Bloodstock
can't
as
mix
well.
them
You
out.
can easily find your mates. You can find your mates at
Yeah,
Bloodstock, and then
you don't get lost.
you don't get
You got
lost
a
there.
nice
But
little pub
download, that's
nearby.
a completely different story.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
I can't see a local pizza place delivering pizza to a campsite at download.
No, it'd be like this. I'm looking double meat face for Jake. Where are you?
But you hear that at
Like this.
Beermageddon, you got Just Eat's brilliant because you've got curries arriving, you've got pizzas arriving, kebabs arriving, and it's just walk over the field, pick your food up. Thanks very much.
It's like
Got
the food
times
vendors.
I've sat in that venue with me Chinese.
Why not?
Yeah.
Well,
that's it. All the good things that I like all rolled into one in Beermageddon.
Yeah, it's all good.
And this is where we make people feel gutted because they're going, "Oh, I'll buy tickets to this," and of course we sold out.
It's like too late.
Too late. We were sold out over a year ago.
So
and we sold out beginning of January 2020.
So guys, you're late. You're a bit, not a bit late. You're overly late.
Well, obviously, when we had to postpone, we've rolled it over a year. Most of the people have rolled their tickets over. I think we had about 13 who got refunds because you got an option. You have to give the option.
I just let mine roll over. I didn't get it refunded.
The vast majority did.
I just left it as it was. I just left it for it's just going to get rolled over, isn't it? Tickets from 2020.
But the 13 people who got refunds, those tickets sold out in the space of an hour or so. They were gone before we even. I didn't even put it on the main website. I just put it on the Facebook. 10 or 13, I can't remember which. 13 tickets available. Once they're gone. Here's your only chance. It went in an hour. So very lucky like that. That's the one thing we didn't have to worry about last year. Because that's a very important thing to bear in mind because the pandemic hit in March. March, April, May, June, that is our main selling point. We usually sell out around July. So those months are usually our main selling time. And if we hadn't sold out in January, we would have been looking at having an August festival with ticket sales literally at zero because nobody has real faith that the event's going to go ahead. So that would have been a massive headache if we were sitting there on low ticket sales and COVID and pandemic and everything else. But luckily, we were in a position where we'd sold out in January, and we didn't have that worry. And we haven't got the same. The same goes for this year. There's a lot of festivals who will be sitting down now, thinking, "I've got." And I watched the DMSC thing, the Media and Sports and Music Committee meeting. They had a couple from the big festivals and a lot of the trade bodies, the independent festivals and that. And of course, they're looking now at their plans, and they really need the insurance from the government, because if it does all go tits up, they're going to be in a lot of lumber. But once again, we don't have to worry about that at all this year. All we can concentrate about, all we need to worry about, is providing a safe festival, which I think by August we should be fine. I think
should be
June, July, you're going to find your festivals are back on for the summer. The infection rates will drop anyway as the weather gets better. That's natural. With a vaccine on top. Same happened last year. The infection rates went right down. Venues reopened again. But of course, then as the weather turned, started kicking up again.
Kicking off again.
And you'll get the same next year. There will be pockets, and I predict we'll have the events like normal over the summer. But come sort of October, November, you're going to find your tiers coming back in. And little areas are going to get locked down just to stay on top of any infection rates. But hopefully with this vaccine, I took my mum for a vaccine today. She went and had hers. She's,
I was going to ask about that. How did it go?
Yeah. Oh, she's great. She was upset because she didn't get a sticker.
She didn't get a sticker. Criminal.
Didn't get a sticker. But yeah, she's had her first jab today. So
that's good.
Yeah, I think we're going to be. I do predict that 2021 is going to be much better and a lot brighter than 2020.
But yeah, let's keep that optimism open. Let's keep it.
Yeah.
Let's keep it open.
I have got the optimism, and I do think I'm not detracting from any of the deaths or the cases, especially that we're getting at the moment, because it's massively high. But over the next couple of months, you will see those start to fall again, and especially and with more vaccines going in as well. A lot of the deaths that we're seeing are people who are in the vulnerable categories, the elderly, the clinically extremely vulnerable. They're the ones who are going into hospital and sadly losing their lives. They're the ones who are getting the vaccine at the moment. So those numbers should really come down as the vaccine kind of like ramps up.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just hope we got festivals in the summer, because I miss going to festivals, getting on the field, setting up my tent. A lot of time can be a ball ache, and then just get all your stuff in, get a beer out, get your camping chair out, open your beer out, and just relax there in the sun. But put some sun cream on, for crying out loud.
Oh, we need that so much.
We need it so much.
Yeah. We're both thinking about it now, aren't we? Just sort of like traveling into that field.
Let's forget this chat. Let's just think. But yeah. How did your music journey go into metal? Because everyone's got a story to how their music journey went from whatever they heard before to metal.
Mine isn't overly exciting, really, to be honest. I mean, as a youngster, I used to live up in Manchester. And all the big kids were into punk, and so all the little kids kind of like got into punk, and so you had all these like sort of like 7, 8-year-old punks, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old punks wandering around, and so I kind of like fell into the punk side of things. Then in '82 we moved down to Birmingham. And so I just brought my little punk self down here. And around that time, the new wave of British heavy metal was really getting into its own. And so I kind of, it was a very easily crossover. I still love me punk, and I still love me metal. So it was just a little there was no groundbreaking epiphany of hearing a single album or something like that. You know what I mean? Although back in those days, you would go and listen to albums in your record shop before they got released, and you'd sit in the record shop and have a listen to the bloody albums, and a lot of the albums that were getting played in the record shops at the time were metal ones, so that also kind of fed into it. But you know, as a kid, I didn't have huge amounts of money, but you could sound like a right old fart, you know. Oh, back in my day.
Back in my day.
You used to go and hire records from the library. The library used to have a record collection. You could take them out like books.
Okay, that's mental.
And of course, you wouldn't condone recording an album onto tape when you're a 12-year-old lad. Nobody will condone that, but I'm pretty sure it probably went on.
Probably.
I probably said, and you used to go down the market and you used to get all the bootlegs of the live shows as well, which is brilliant. You don't see that these days.
No.
The old bootlegs, you know, live at such, and you know, it's one of the worst recordings ever. But you heard some new songs on there, and you know, you heard these songs being played live. So yeah, it was you know, no epiphany moment, just a nice little flow from punk into metal.
So from mohawks into long hair.
I used to be in a band called Flack.
I was going to ask you about that. I was going to ask you about any bands.
I was going to say I had a bit of a mohawk going on then. A bit of video emerged about 3-4 years ago, something like that, from back in '91. It was kind of like, it was punky, thrashy.
Cool.
So it was a good crossover. I wouldn't call it crossover, but it was along those sort of lines. But yeah, I had a mohawk going on then. I was a young little lad. Yeah. But before that, I was in a band called 300% Proof, and we played one gig. One gig. We booked out this big place on Summer Lane in Birmingham. Great big fucking venue. And we booked this, and this is going to be our debut gig. And we went around, we sold tickets to all our friends and everyone who'd buy a ticket. And we sold loads of tickets. And it wasn't until we got there on the night that we realized that we hadn't actually booked anyone to support us. And so it was just us. We had probably about half hour's worth of material. And we turned up in this venue, huge venue, full of all our mates and everyone we knew and friends of friends and everything. And I was like, we suddenly worked out we made a mistake. So it turned in, we played our set, and then it just turned into a massive open mic night. And you had everyone just piling up, doing whatever he wants. So as you can imagine, after that kind of like shaming, that band kind of like didn't go anywhere else. But a few years later, I was in Flack. We did well in Flack. We played a few little festivals, you know, and back in those days, gigging was a lot different as well. Everything was very different to the days that they are now with the internet and social media. And there's a lot more, bands have to be a lot more, I think, business minded. True. And you know, whereas we just sort of like knock around and we've, you know, oh, I know such a band. Okay, we'll do a gig swap with you. You're in Redditch, we're in Birmingham. You come and play, and that'll happen, you know, in little towns just outside our area. So we built up a fan base like that, and we grew quite well. We never actually recorded anything in the studio, because it was hugely expensive to do that then, you know. So. But we did quite well. And our final gig, I remember, was at Sinatra's in Birmingham. And it was so rammed in there. People were having to get up on the stage with us because they were getting crushed. Oof. And so we actually had people, and it was a great final gig, because you're up on stage, I was singing, and you'd have everyone joining in the songs with you. And it was, yeah, a special moment, but... Yeah, once again, something for youngsters more than anything.
Yeah. pretty much.
Happy
yeah,
happy days.
Yeah, I was literally going to ask you if you're in bands. You've just answered that already.
Yeah, many years ago.
Like,
Many
I'm
years
thinking
ago.
like I'm trying to think like late 80s, early 90s sort of thing.
Yeah, that's around the time. I think Flack would have been about 88, 89, something around those lines. Oh, sorry, 300% proof was 88, 89. Flack would have been sort of like early 90s, 90, 91, 92 sort of time.
I was born in 91.
So, yeah, so there you go. Yeah, you before you were even, you are forgiven for not coming to see us.
Well, yeah, I'm forgiven. I'm forgiven. How could I say, yeah?
Like I say, there is some really ropey footage on YouTube of one song at the Limelight Club in Redditch.
No, I've got to check this out now.
Yeah. It's on there. It's on there. If you can edit it, if you
Flat,
can edit it in, you can even put a little clip of it.
if I can figure out how to do that, I'll just talk about it in the next chat I do or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know. But yeah, I'll find that and have a listen.
Back to the point, I had a bit of a mohawk going on then as well, so and that was more in my metal sort of. And I'll tell you one thing that's very weird, because that was heading on the thrash side, and although in the kind of like mid 80s I would listen to some thrash, I never really got thrash until I met my wife in 1989, and she was really into a thrash metal, and she kind of like converted me. And so that's where I kind of like moved into, and I got my appreciation. No, I used to call it bastardized punk.
Bastardized punk. Well,
I used to call it bastardized punk. But yeah, so I've got Mrs. J to thank for that, and a lot of the music that I like actually, because she's been quite an influence on me.
well, good on her.
Yeah, open my eyes to good stuff.
Good old Mrs. B. For getting you into thrash.
Yeah. I see. I used to, you get your, like back then, it was still the likes of your Megadeth and Metallica in those sort of like mid 80s into the late. But Tracy, she had a much broader knowledge of it all and a lot more records than I had. So she's always had more records than me anyway.
Fair enough. So, well, you said you met her in '89. Whereabouts was this? Was this in Birmingham?
It was in Birmingham. It was at Costermongers,
Custom,
which has reopened now.
is.
It closed in, I think, once again, would have been the 2000. It closed for a while, reopened, closed again. I think it's not open again at the moment because it's COVID. But it reopened again. And I haven't been, because back in the days in Birmingham, we used to have so many great venues. We had like the Costermongers, used to go to Fox and Grapes, Pen and Wig, which is Scruffy Murphy's now.
Yep, Scruffy Murphy's, yep.
Yeah, that used to be called the Pen and Wig. And all these places drinking in there when I was like 15, 14, 15. Eddie's Number Eights, that was the club, and it burnt down. It was run by Eddie Futrell. That was such a brilliant place to go. But we had a lot of awesome venues, and when you used to go out, you'd be able to see a live band every day of a week. You used to go up to Moseley a lot. You had the Fighting Cocks and the Trafalgar. You used to always get the punk bands up there, and the likes of Barton Arms had some brilliant bands on. And so we had loads of places to go, but Costermongers was always one of the stops, and that's where we'd meet up with everyone. And yeah, Mrs. J was in there one night, and the rest is history. My chat up line was, "Are you going to see the Smells tonight?" Because the pungent smells were playing over at the Barton Arms. I remember that. And she said, "No, I'm going out with my mates." I said, "Well, do you fancy meeting up for a drink sometime?" And the rest is history.
And the rest is history, and you've been with her ever since.
So yeah, look at that, 32 years ago.
Yeah, I met her at Beermageddon, obviously.
Yeah.
And very, very, very nice lady. Very nice to chat to.
Yeah. She looks after me, keeps me on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, literally just keeps you on the straight and narrow. It's like if you didn't have her, you'd probably just be like, oh no, he's bonnet naked again.
That's it. I would. I'd be in lumber without her.
Well, that's good. And because every time we're at Beermageddon, you got your own little camper van, you camp there, always in that one corner, so we all know where you are.
I have to go down there because you've got houses over the back. And if anyone's really rowdy down there, I have to go and tell them to keep the noise down. Up the top end of a field, it can be as loud as you want because it's just like farmland and,
because I'm right up the top.
That's it. But down the bottom, and it gets, I can get some sleep then as well without bloody Toto Africa playing all bloody night.
That always plays. So if anyone does go to Beermageddon at any point, you are going to hear that song over and over again. So bring earplugs.
Bring earplugs. Well, did you do the cheesy disco on Thursday night? It's 2019.
I don't think I did 2019. I think I remember getting it early 2018.
Oh, 2019.
Thursday.
We had the Thursday, and over. I've always said, no, you come on Friday. Come on Friday. People say I'm coming from Scotland, and over the years, more and more people have arrived on the Thursday. So 2019, I said, okay, Ammo will do a cheesy disco, and I thought this will put people off. And he was playing the Spice Girls and the Macarena, and you've got all these metalheads dancing to it. I was horrified. I was disgusted with them.
You absolute bastards. So, dancing to that Macarena. What's wrong with you?
I really can't knock them for the Toto Africa.
It's like it's like it's always played. It's even played at the Griffin here in Bristol. It's always played at the Griffin. So it gets played at the Griffin quite a bit as well. One song that always got played at the Griffin though was "Happy Little Boozer" by Corpiclani, and me and a couple of mates of ours would just run around the upstairs with the bars and just keep running until the song was over.
My recent one over the past few years has been Windrose and their song "Diggy Diggy Hole."
Oh yeah, Diggy Diggy Hole.
I tell you, I am a beer man. I'm drinking a beer, drinky beer, drinky. And I will walk around the festival all weekend just singing that to myself. And when Tash is working them, Tash shouts at me. She says, Tash, "Stop singing that bloody song."
It's like, my name's Beerman. I'm drinking.
I am the beer man. I'm drinking a beer.
Drinking a beer. That's it.
I think that came out about 2019. So
yeah, that's been
2018 or 2019.
Right, that's going to be Sunday when festivals happen again. So there we go. It's happening now. You've caused this.
Well, I do it at all the hippie festivals as well. Any festival that I'm at, I'm just wandering around because I've got beer in my hand. I am the beer man. I'm drinking a beer. You know what I'm like as the kind of like night wears on, my volume goes up.
It goes up.
I am one of those noisy drunks, and so I start off quite nice and quite calm and collected. By the end of the night, I'm a drooling mess, singing at the top of my voice.
Yeah, I think I'm to blame for that because I always buy you a beer at the bar. So I'm partially to blame.
It would be rude to refuse a beer. That's what I think.
That's pretty much my tradition now. When I go to Beermageddon, I just buy you a beer.
Let's have a beer. Needs to be done.
There's always a hobgoblin though. I always got to get a hobgoblin.
Yeah.
Well, if there's no hobgoblin, it's going to be hobgoblin gold or something.
Yeah, we usually run out. Every year he buys more, and every year we run out. We drink more.
I always bring hobgoblins. I'll just give you a few bottles of mine.
I always have a supply. That's another thing that 2020 threw me with. I went in the van to give it a quick tidy.
Yeah.
And I found 2 out-of-date bottles of Hobgoblin. I was wounded. I was. Because I don't like to risk having
me heart.
Bloody bum. It went in a beef and ale pie.
Beef and ale pie. There's nothing wrong with that. Beef and ale,
Love a good beef
aching
and ale pie.
kidney.
Vegan options are available.
So it's for everybody. And speaking of Beermageddon, where did this all start? I know it was 2012, but where did the whole premise come from?
What it was from 2010, we used to have a second stage, a Top Rock radio stage, at the Sonic Rock Festival when it was held over in Belfast in Wales. And we did that for a couple of years. But the lady who ran the place was maybe not as open to metal as most of her punters were. And she claimed we were too loud. And so in the end, she says, no, you can't have that stage anymore. So Martin says, why don't you just do your own and have Beermageddon? And that's the great thing about Beermageddon. I've got Martin and Sharon, who have got like all the years of experience in running festivals and know what they're doing. And yet it's all metal and it's all what I like, because they're not bands that, although we do cross bands over from time to time with a hippie festival, but it's then the bands that I'm booking are not bands that Martin will go for On Board the Craft or Sonic Rock. And so we just started up. It was meant to be, because I was obviously, I don't know if you know, I used to do a thing called Beerman Presents as well. And we used to just put on gigs 2, 3, 4 times a year, not every month, a few times a year. And they were really popular. And we had the stage at Sonic Rock, and that was really popular. And it was a natural progression. And we thought, we'll just book a little place. And the original capacity was about 60 people. That was it. And it was to be held at a little place called South Wingfield for 2 days around the August Bank holiday. And I think we announced it at Halloween at a Beerman Presents gig. And we announced, right, this is going to be happening next year, Beermageddon. And that was Halloween. I think by December, we'd sold out of all those tickets. So Martin says, Jim, you're going to have to get a bigger venue. And I said, well, we need somewhere that's close by. And we need, if we're making people, sort of like move venue, because we'd sold 60 tickets, if we need to give them something else. So we added an extra day on. I went to 3 days and then moved it to a Black Horse in 2012. And to be honest, it was oversold. But luckily we had an extra part in the pub because it was biblical. The heavens just opened. There was a river running through the campsite. And so everybody, we have refugees in the venue and they were having to stay there overnight. But it was a baptism of fire, but everyone loved it and they all wanted it again the next year. So we would have gone back to the Black Horse and stayed the size it was, but they were going to be demolishing the pub and building houses.
Oh, shit.
So we needed a new place, and that's when we went to Stoke Prior in 2013. That's the only reason we moved, and we've been there ever since, and we won't be moving from Stoke Prior unless they want to knock that down and build houses.
Well, because it's a great...
Hopefully they won't.
Because it's a great location.
That's it. It's perfect. Just being off the M5. It's about 2.5 miles off the M5.
2.5 miles, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It is a perfect place to be. So, yeah, it was just sort of like a culmination of that stage at Sonic Rock, the Beerman Presents gigs that we used to do. I mean, most of those were done at a place called the Old Wharf, which isn't open anymore. That was a great venue as well. But I did one final Beerman Presents in 2012 in Nottingham. And what it was, it had, the Nottingham Beer Festival is held in the castle grounds.
Yeah, I've heard of it, yeah.
it's a brilliant beer festival, I've got to say. So we had complimentary tickets through press, and I says to Mrs. J, I said, look, really want to go and do a Nottingham Beer Festival. Let's make it worthwhile. So we booked a Beerman Presents at the Old Salutation on the Saturday, which is another great venue, the Old Cell. Love that in Nottingham. So we booked up the Old Cell. We did the 2 days, and of course we went up on the Friday, did the beer festival on the Friday, and you end up a little bit tipsy. Mrs. J doesn't drink, and even she had a few beers. and like we got this gig on the Saturday, and I said to Mrs. J, I said, what we'll do, let's go back to the beer festival again, have a few more liveners, and then we'll go to the venue and we'll do the gig. By the time we got to the venue, we were half cut again already. So, but it was a brilliant end, actually. Once again, it was a packed out, gig at the Old Cell, which is, one of the oldest pubs in bloody England. Not the oldest pub, but one of them. And we had the place rammed out. Everyone had a great time. And it was a lovely end to the Beerman Presents chapter. And now we've got the Beermageddon, and who knows what will come in the future?
Who knows?
When all of this is over, people want live music now.
Well, I want live music back, and the first time I went to your festival was 2015 because Heather told me about it.
Yeah.
She told me about it, and I was like, "What the hell is this Beermageddon?" Because I went to Bloodstock 2 weeks before, and he told me about this festival, and I was like, what the fuck is Beermageddon? And then I went to it, and then
we always say
bands like Venom Inc. was on the last one. I remember that.
That was our little surprise.
That was a little surprise because you had a band before that, but they couldn't make it.
UK show for Venom Inc.
But they couldn't make the band who you were meant to get before. I think you had a band
what
before.
It was, we had, the name bloody escapes me now. This is one thing that I'm terrible with remembering bloody names. It will come to me, but it's basically Tony and one of the other Venom guys have this other band, and Venom Inc. had done the South America tour, and Tony Dolan says to me, how do you feel about giving Venom Inc. that slot? Because it's literally in the same band, but the drummer's different, because on the drums was Anthony Bray. So I of course jumped at it. I said, Venom Inc. at Beermageddon. I said, but let's keep it secret. I said, don't tell anyone. What I'll do is I'll say on the night, I'm sorry they couldn't make it. We've got someone to stand in at the last minute. Because everyone kept saying to me through the day, I hope they do some Venom songs. I hope they do some Venom songs. And I was walking around going, I'm sure you'll get one or two Venom songs. But yeah, it worked. It did work out really, really well. But the thing is, we didn't arrange this until something like a couple of weeks before. And I'd had all the T-shirts printed and everything else.
Yeah.
With it all, as it was. So I just said, keep it as a big surprise. Well, and it was the first ever, it was a debut UK show, first time on UK soil for Venom Inc. And so, that's one thing. We have some of these amazing gems. You look, we have Venom Inc. We also had Martin Walker doing the Skyclad stuff.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
It was a one-off show.
Yeah,
that was a one-off.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Not that.
It was amazing, and like we worked with Martin to get the entire lineup put together. And the entire lineup was of people who played Beermageddon and all getting together to work with Martin to get that show together. It was all put together just for Beermageddon. And you take a look at this year, should have been last year, we've got Ides of March. which is all old Iron Maiden members fronted by Paul Di'Anno,
The original vocalist, yeah.
and it's going to be Paul Di'Anno's last ever show ever, doing Ides of March at Beermageddon. And, obviously, we're going to get the original debut Iron Maiden. We're going to get some Killers stuff as well now. We're going to have to add more into the list because it'll be the 40th anniversary of Killers this year.
Oh, of course, yeah.
It was meant to be for the 40th anniversary of Iron Maiden, the self-titled debut.
Got it.
But of course, we get in the best of both worlds because we're getting Killers as well.
Got Iron Maiden and Killers, so there you go.
Those, for me, I mean, don't get me wrong, all the early Iron Maiden stuff is brilliant. Number of a Beast, Peace of Mind, the Power Slave, the early albums are very seminal, but the first two, they are what got me into Iron Maiden. And it goes back to what got you into metal. There was very much a punkier side, which was very, very friendly to me, sort of like 1980, 81, as this little kid who listens to punk because all the big kids listen to punk. That was a next step because it had that punky element.
Of course.
And so, I mean, I've not seen Paul Di'Anno for many years. It's going to be 6-7 years.
Yeah,
I've
seen him once.
So, I mean, it was always an idol of mine. And he's a bloody lovely bloke to chat to, I've got to be honest. So to actually have that final ever show is going to be pretty amazing.
Well, I'll try and get my copy of the first Iron Maiden album signed if I can get a chance to meet him.
That's it, yeah. That's it. Bring them, and that's something you see quite often. People bring in those albums to get signed.
Yeah, I think I got Killers in there somewhere. I got a lot of Iron Maiden albums. The one that got me into Iron Maiden was the first song I actually heard was "Can I Play with Madness?"
Yeah.
And then I got that. I heard the entire album as soon as I bought it.
That was one hell of a catchy song, though, wasn't it? That was one of those songs that you do want to you sing along to it. That's a weird thing. Iron Maiden over more recent years, I've kind of like totally moved away from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those first 5-6 albums, yeah, they're my bag. But going, I'd say from Wasted Years onwards, I kind of like moved away. But I think that was more my music taste changing as well. You know,
yeah,
what I mean?
It happens, yeah. Because I've gone down the death metal route a lot.
Well, yeah, I'm really, really strange. I go through little cycles, and I'll have a cycle of black metal, and I'll have a cycle of death metal, and I'll get into a bit of melodeath, and I'll like a bit of folk metal, and then I'll cycle round, and I'm back into really early new wave of British heavy metal again, and then let's have some thrash. And I do go through these little cycles and, still go back to me punk quite often.
Yeah.
Quite often I'll sit and just have a night listening to, random bloody punk stuff I've completely forgotten about.
Yeah, I just go to a lot of death metal and back to folk metal. I will go back to Iron Maiden, then I go and listen to a lot of Devin Townsend because Devin Townsend's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Go to Devin Townsend, strapping on lad days and everything. The Sugar, Gojira, I go to that as well, and then I just go back to death metal again and folk metal.
That's it. I mean, that's a great thing. You can never get bored of your music if you like metal.
No, you can't get bored.
You know what I mean? Because you've got it's so varied, such a big spectrum of it. How can you get bored of that?
I know. I don't know how you can get bored really, but.
You can't get bored of it at all.
No, I don't get bored of it. I've been listening to metal since I was 11, but I knew about metal maybe a lot earlier than that.
Yeah,
but I didn't get into it until I was like.
Once again, was it bigger kids who liked it that kind of like?
I mean, one of my brother's mates. I have not seen him in years. He had 2 burnt CDs he gave to me, and they were both of Pantera. It was The Great Southern Trendkill and Vulgar Display of Power on 2 burnt CDs, and I listened to them. I was just like, what the hell is this? Because I already knew Iron Maiden was, and Sabbath, and Motorhead, and Judas Priest. That's another great band.
I'll go back to
You know,
Chris Tangarides down at the Ecology Rooms in Kent. It's when he recorded Painkiller.
oh wow.
And I've recorded on the same equipment in the same studio as Judas Priest. We did that with, you know, Wretched Soul.
Wretched Soul, yeah.
We did that with Wretched Soul.
Nice.
And they invited me and Mrs. J went down. The Pandemonium Boys went down. Alan, Colin, and Tom. And we went down and had a day with Wretched Soul down at Chris's studios, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic.
It's fucking cool.
And of course, that's where and don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of Anvil, but you know the Anvil story in the film.
I love Anvil. Right.
Well, that was down at the Ecology Rooms, down at Chris Tangarides' studios.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Kent. So yeah, I've got
liked it so much. They recorded down there. Yeah, that's right. I think it was
a few years ago that we lost Chris, and that was like, you know, because he wasn't old.
He wasn't old, no.
You know what I mean? And so it was a crying shame. He was a lovely bloke to talk to. Yeah. Once again, because I did an interview with him, and we just like we're chatting now, just chatting about metal, and it was one of the nicest, easiest interviews I've ever done.
Yeah, that's why.
It just flowed so well. Lovely bloke.
Yeah, that's why mine, like, just the chat is not, typical. I just ask you questions all the time. I'd like to just chat about our favourite metal bands I'm like, you don't like, bands you like, I may not like, or chatting about your festival.
I don't like, but I'm not a fan of Anvil.
Yeah, it's not.
I just never
cup of tea. I like metal on metal. That's my favourite one.
Yeah.
That's got to be my favourite one. And Forged in Fire, because like the song
a lot of people slate me because I don't like Queen either.
Get out.
I'm not a fan of Queen.
I'm a fan of Queen. I'm always going to be a fan of Queen because my mum has been a fan of Queen since.
So many people are, but I've just once again never got the hype. Oh, I vanished then. I've got my microphone here, and I have a background on, so it vanishes. But if I go behind it,
I can just see the outline of the microphone. Yeah. My mum's been a fan of Queen since she was a kid. So, and
it's a big thing now because now that we're doing the radio show on Twitch as well, we've got all these different kind of like things that people can do, and one is any song, whether I like it or not, if it's in the playlist or not. And a lot of people will torment me with Queen, and so Queen over the past year has got more play than it has in like the 13 years I've been doing radio. 14 years. So more play in the last year than the previous 13. Just because people like to say, that's what people do to me. They torment me.
Just torment you because,
torment me with Queen.
Because we love you too much.
Because people love Queen.
Because we love you too much. I've got to torment you. Yeah. Well, because speaking of Venom Inc., you've had that band on, but I looked at previous lineups that I didn't go to. Onslaught was on one of them.
Yeah, Onslaught were
Bristol based thrash.
14, I think. 13 or 14.
Yeah, I know.
I do get mixed up.
Because Psycheala's not in the band anymore. He's now.
No, it's the guy from Bull Riff, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember his name. It's from Bull Riff Stampede.
Yeah.
And I think they've played Beermageddon before. Have they played Beermageddon before?
Bull Riff, yes, I believe they have.
I think I looked at a lineup and they were on it.
Yeah, they've either played Beermageddon or they played one of the Bierman Presents. They might have done both.
Who knows?
They might have done both.
I'm trying to remember the bands that you got on there. You got Outright Resistance at some various times. Eastern Front.
Yes.
My Mates from Mordrake.
Yeah, I've got the new album from them.
Yeah, I heard it because just Marden messaged me saying, "Oh, can you listen to new stuff and tell me what you think?"
Very good.
I said, "Fucking love it."
That is very good. I played one on my Total Rock show on Tuesday. That is a really good album. That is a really good album.
Yeah, absolutely great.
All going to plan, and this year going ahead at Beermageddon. and I think it should. 2022 is going to be, it'll be the 10th anniversary. And it will actually work out as exactly 10 years as well, because we missed a year. You know, you always get that, how can it be your 10th anniversary? Or, you know, if you go to festivals or whatever. So it works out, and we're going to have all returning bands, all the bands, not every one of them, but the weekend's going to be bands who have played before over the previous 10 years. So
yeah,
that'll be quite fun.
That'll be good. Just have those bands, not any new ones until the next year.
That's it, yeah. And just for 1 year, we'll have some of the bands.
Do it for your 10-year anniversary, and
yeah,
fingers crossed your 20th anniversary, if that can happen.
Right, I mean, the way things are going, might still bloody same lineup as 2020. I think we're going to be. I think we're going to be safe for this year. I think we'll have a festival. Yeah, we might have to put some different. See, we have everything in place to be COVID safe, because the way the venue's laid out, we can have a one-way system in there.
Yeah,
go in one door, out the other.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Through plenty of hand sand stations.
So they get hand sanitizer as well. Like the doors, there's the one on the left, go through there, and then there's the door by the stage, go out that one.
In by the bar, out by the stage, one-way system. You know, we can take a lot of steps to make people safe. You know, you're not going to get social distancing as such. But the one thing to remember when it comes to live music, and I think it's the one thing that people forget, people are talking or cheering towards the back of someone's head. They're not doing it to your face where you're going to inhale everything. It's the back of your head. You know what I mean? So I think transmissions would be very low in a live band setting anyway. You know. Yeah, but that's maybe just the way my brain works. But like I say, I'm hoping by August numbers are going to be right down. Events will be going ahead.
Things don't need to worry about it. Normal as it can get.
So I think we will have a semblance of normality, and I do think next autumn we'll see a few more cases spring up, and I think they'll have to be pretty hot in just putting those tiers into little lockdowns, and they will be little localized lockdowns. Provided, I have no faith in the government. I just want to say that I think Boris Johnson.
I don't think any of us do.
So
I don't think any of us do. I don't think any of us do.
I am hoping that the government do manage to just its last little bit not fuck it up.
Yeah, that's what it is.
We've just got to hope on that, unfortunately.
Well, yeah. Yeah, well, let's get away from all the government bollocks. I don't talk much about on here.
We all need that one moment when we do say Boris Johnson.
Well, and you can say it is all good.
We'll get that out there.
Yeah, just get out there.
Needs to be said.
Just needs to be said. And another band that you had on that I did watch. I wasn't in the building. I was outside because I just needed there and just to chill out. It was, I think you had Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons. I think.
No. What I think you're getting mixed up with is Ace of Spades.
That's the one.
Which is Alan Davey.
That's the one.
But it had some of the old people who've done stuff with Motorhead.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because Phil Campbell, but they sort of play Motorhead stuff anyway.
That's it. And
Alan Davey, mixed. I thought it was, but then they were like, "Oh, we're Ace of Spades."
Yeah, you've got Motorhead in your head, and that's
what I was thinking. Motorhead, Phil Campbell.
Alan is the guy who replaced Lemmy in Hawkwind back in the day.
Yeah, Lemmy was in Hawkwind.
When Lemmy left Hawkwind, Alan Davey went to play with Hawkwind. And Alan also had a band, once again, whose name I am terrible at remembering names tonight. Gunslinger. Boom. I've remembered one. Thank you. Who were very Motorhead-esque, but he also, back in the day, started up Ace of Spades, which was kind of like a tribute to Motorhead. And of course, he was good pals with Lemmy. And Lemmy once says to him, why are you doing this Ace of Spades? And he says, because the music's just bloody brilliant. And Lemmy said, "It's good enough for me, Alan. It's good enough for me." And it seemed that I always wanted to have Motorhead at Beermageddon. That was my one dream. And of course,
That would have been great.
that would have
That would have
been
been brilliant.
it for me. But with Lemmy passing away, obviously it wasn't going to happen.
No.
And it seemed like a great tribute to Lemmy and Motorhead and everything they did all over the years, with his good mate Alan doing it, the guy who replaced him in Hawkwind. What better way to do it? And I was a little bit, oh, do I do it? Because basically it's a band doing covers. But because of all the relationships throughout the band, a bit like the Ides of March, we've got Paul Di'Anno, who was the singer on those original albums. We have got old Iron Maiden members from the 70s and, you know, from those really early days.
Yeah.
You know, because of the connections, people absolutely loved it and, you know, made the right choice. But you've got to also look to the point, if you're not willing to try something, you never know. You're going to be stuck in the same rut forever. I like to do things a little bit differently. A Beermageddon, if I can.
Yeah.
If we can do something, that's where you get the magic from. Like Martin Walker going Skyclad one final time. That was his last ever performance doing Skyclad stuff. Because I'd seen that in, I think it was 2013, as he did kind of like a Viking Funeral in 2013, and that was brilliant. That was at the Irish Centre over in Nottingham, and it was fantastic. See, you know, all the old Skyclad stuff as it should be done, kind of like in the you know, all these years later. And I thought that's something that I'd love at Beermageddon, and it couldn't have gone better. It was brilliant. Yeah. Everyone had a blast.
Yeah, it's just but Beermageddon overall matter where it was. I mean, I've only known it to be at Stokes prior because that's why.
Yeah,
it is currently.
The Viking Funeral was what Martin put on himself, Martin Walker. It was.
I would love to have seen that.
I think it was something like for his birthday.
A Viking funeral on his birthday.
Yeah, it was something like that, and he had an all-day festival, and he did the Skyclad stuff. I think it was. Oh, once again, I can't remember the name. And they've recently released an album. Yeah, but they basically were his backing bands. Now, at Beermageddon, when we got it together, we actually put the band together with him. And, you know, you had members from, I think it was Rannoch. There might have been one of the guys from Harkin in there as well. You know, and
they played
they all put this together for me and, you know, learnt an entire set, Skyclad stuff, to do and say. And of course, Martin, he did all his own wardrobe and that. You saw all the wardrobe changes that he did and everything. You know, it was fantastic, but one hell of a lot of work for everyone to put in to get it on. But I wanted it to happen, so I you know,
it happened.
Made sure it did.
There you go.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do these days. If you want something to happen,
you
do it. Make it happen. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, basically, like for this chat series, I did a few live streams because one of my guests I did live stream with because that's what he does on Facebook, and he uploads the YouTube. His name's Cam. He's working on a death metal documentary at the moment. And I spoke to him over Facebook. He said, "Do you do interviews for your channel?" And I thought about it. He said, "I think you should." And I just I got him to thank for that. And I was going to go back to the bands that you've had. You've had my other mates from Jackal's Backbone who played Bloodstock last year on the Jaeger stage. Did really well. They're flipping fantastic.
There's one good thing about
Trivax,
yeah.
Trivax, they were fucking awesome. Loved them.
But you get a lot of bands that'll play Beermageddon
and Cambrian.
Go on to Bloodstock, and then from Bloodstock onto the likes of Download, and there is a nice progression in the festival circuits in the UK. It's brilliant. You've got these excellent festivals where, on a very small scale like Beermageddon, going on to your bigger ones like Bloodstock, like Damnation, and then into even bigger, and it's a lovely cycle, and it's fantastic to watch bands. We have a lot of bands who come and they played the first ever show at Beermageddon. Hands of Attrition just dropped their new album. It is phenomenal. Played their debut show at Beermageddon. I booked them based on the debut single, and I thought that this is going to be. I want it, and this is once again where you take that risk. You've got to take the risk every now and again. But he came and played the debut show. They just dropped the album. I'll tell you one thing: they'll be playing massive stages in no time. They. You look at Totingerfluster.
Totingerfluster, yeah.
That was a studio project. After I heard the album, I spoke to Simon from Germany. In Germany, all right. Spoke to him, get a live lineup together. They came over from Germany and played their debut show at Beermageddon in England.
I know, yeah. I
really then a few years later, they were back headlining Rouen.
Yep.
Who that was once again 2019 debut show at Beermageddon was a studio project. Got the live lineup together. So
there you go.
And I can tell you, this is a bit of an exclusive. You will also be having Unarach, which is another project of Tom's. And once again, I don't know if it'll be a debut show. It probably will be.
Might be
going, but getting the live lineup together. And once again, those are those magic moments. And I can watch these bands from the debut show at a festival, our festival, move on and go forward in their careers. And that is so amazing to see. You know what I mean? It's something to be proud of.
Yeah, that's just brilliant.
And once again, everyone who goes to the festival, they're part of that.
Yeah.
And in years to come, when these bands are massive, they can say, I remember their first ever show. It was at this little tiny festival in Bromsgrove. And you know what I mean? And they're part of that story. They're part of that history.
Yeah.
They were there.
Definitely. You know? Because not only do you get British bands, obviously, because they're easy to come by, all in Britain, but you get bands from Germany or Finland, or because one of the bands I saw when I first went was from Finland.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember their name.
Rearmed? Was that Rearmed?
I think that was Rearmed.
Yeah,
it's a Finnish band. Yeah.
Belgians. We've had
Belgians. You had Greaves from America.
Graves, Graves
they
from
were great.
America. And Martyrium came from Malta.
Which band?
Martyrium.
Martyrium, yeah.
Yeah, they came from Malta. So yeah, I mean, we do. Once again, we get bands who love to come and play, who want to play in the UK, but it's hard for them to once again get a foot in the door.
It is hard.
And this is another thing where I love where the UK bands will step up, because we've had bands come over, and to make it work, they've had to do a few days. And there's bands who are either playing the festival, have played different, the year before or a few years ago. They've gone out with these bands coming over, done a few day tour with them, with Beermageddon in the middle. And it's worked, and that's like the whole community, worldwide metal community coming together, bands getting, and I mentioned this when I was in Flack, getting that contact, doing those gig shares, what we used to do in, sort of around England, they're doing worldwide. And, it's absolutely great to see. But
it's great just seeing all these bands that you get.
Yeah.
At this small, in a small room, like the stage is. I've been on that stage because you had Raised by Owls and they do their grindcore karaoke with one of their sons. David Cameron's favourite band is Pig Destroyer, that one.
It's quite a shallow stage as well.
Yeah.
It's got the length, but it's not got the girth. It's got the length, but not the girth.
It's got the girth to it.
But once again, it's a very intimate setting.
Yeah,
it's brilliant at having an intimate setting. Works so well.
Yeah, and also what I also know about Beermageddon is on the wristbands it says VIP.
Yeah, Everyone's a VIP to
There was
us.
a VIP.
Everyone's a VIP.
Like, well,
You're all in the VIP area.
This whole field is basically mix of campsite and backstage. Who cares?
We've done that since day one, because I've always said I want that on now, because every single person who comes to our festival is a VIP.
Right. There we go.
There we go.
2019, this one.
VIP.
VIP. That's the thing.
I've got a bag full of bloody wristbands somewhere.
I've still got a load of them. I'm going to sew them on one of my jackets or sew them on a bloody hat. I don't know yet. Or bandana. I'll just make a bandana and put Beermageddon.
That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? That would be a good idea. It'd take a lot of bloody sewing, though.
I hope I still got them all, though, because I might have lost a few of them.
That'd take a lot of sewing.
But
yeah, everyone's a VIP to us. I thought that was a nice touch. And from day one, everyone said, "Oh, that's brilliant."
That's brilliant. I wish someone tried to get backstage. Was like, "Oh, what are you doing? I'm VIP. Only here though. Fuck. Only in this area, not the backstage."
That's it. You're not allowed to go into Ammo's place.
Look, there's VIP camping wise. There's VIP camping wise, but there's VIP for bands. Now that's it. Fuck.
We have a big marquee out the back. So I'm surprised Ammo sometimes lets the bands go in there. That's where the bands anyway.
You see the bands wandering around anyway because you had
That's it. You camp next to them. The bands are camping. They're camping next to someone in that field.
Like Twilight's Embrace. They saw them walking around.
Ah, yes.
Fjords as well. They which had some of the members from Twilight's Embrace.
I've been trying to get Arcs of Charter, but once again, that's just in the studio projects at the moment. And I know Ben's been trying to get people together, but of course lockdown hasn't allowed for it. But that's one that's going to happen. I'm going to make sure that happens.
Yeah, it'll happen. It'll happen, and Jim will make it happen. And speaking of, you mentioned Top Rock Radio. Yeah. How did that whole begin? Because I like the name of the I like the name of the radio show. I like your show. So how did this all come together? And
that was all utterly by accident, because
all good things are.
I used to do a little bit of web designing, and I wasn't very good, but I learned how the radio software interacted with a website, and I did some work for a Canadian radio station, putting their website together so all the request system like I have works. So it's basically that site is the basic template. And so I was doing all of this, and the girl who runs it, being in Canada, it went out Canada, North America. That was the main listener base. And she said, "Oh, will you do some sound bites for us because you've got the British accent?" I said, "Yeah, of course I will." So I did some sound bites. And the next thing she says, "Will you come and do a show?" And I says, "Well, I will, but it'll be kind of like punk and metal. It won't be like mainstream." She said, "Oh, that's great. When can you do it?" And I said, "Sunday afternoon's a lovely day," because I wasn't working. I could go and do Sunday afternoon. Not really thinking that Sunday afternoon is actually 10 o'clock in the morning, over in the USA and Canada. So you got all these lovely Canadians and Americans getting ready to go to church in the morning. And there's me supping beer, playing the devil's music and being all round rowdy. So that only lasted less than a year. I was only on that for less than a year. And she says, "Look, it's not working. We can't have this. We're just getting more complaints every week." I said, "That's fair enough." I said, "It's been really interesting to try." And I thought, I want to keep doing it. And back then, I think there was something like 5 radio stations who were playing rock and metal online in the world. There's hardly any. Total Rock was one of them. And I applied, and Tony Wilson didn't even reply to me. "Yeah, Tony, I'm there now, aren't I?"
You've been warned, Tony.
There are some more that have gone by the wayside over the years. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's any of the ones apart from Total Rock that are still surviving. But basically, because I didn't have very much experience, nobody wanted to do it. So I thought, sod it. You know, if no one will give you a platform to do this on, make your own. So I started my own radio station.
Why not?
You know, and it was purely to host my show on a Sunday, and that was it.
That's it.
And you know, I've changed little bits. I used to do 6 hours on a Sunday at one point. I do 3 now. I've added a Wednesday. We broadcast a Total Rock show on there. We got Simon joining us. Simon Can.
Good old Wanky Spanky or Mr. Tickle.
With Mr. Tickle. Oh, yeah.
Quickly explain that because he told me earlier.
It's because he's got a huge cock. Basically, that's what it is. He's got, because he's got a huge cock, he's got size 14 feet. And we all know feet and willies, they count. And the distance from there to there is the size of your foot. And so if he's got 14 feet, his arms have got to be really long. So we called him Mr. Tickle. So it comes down to the fact he's got a monster cock.
Well, Simon's going to be getting a lot of that in the Top Rock radio family, and I feel like I'm part of the family anyway because I'm in most of the
call him
chats
Mr. Tickle.
Anyway.
That's the reason why. But yeah, we've had other people on the show, on the station, but you know, it's never really been about all the DJs that you can get on there. You can tune in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's all requests. You've got no adverts or anything. It's like it's really good if you want to discover some new stuff, because people are in there requesting what they like, and you can hear that and you might think, oh, I like that too. So, you can get what you want, or you know, just even on the auto player, it throws up some really obscure but really good things.
Yeah.
So, that's purely by accident of doing a website, doing a few sound bites. I ended up going on the radio, enjoying it. Nobody else wanted me. So, and of course, since then, in 2010, Switch used to be running on a restricted license here in Birmingham. In 2010, they got a full community license, and I joined Switch then, and I have a metal show on there on Thursday nights. And then I think it was about 2012 or 2013 when I actually ended up with Total Rock. And I had a little bit of a break with them. It would have been 2012. I had a little bit of a break in 2013, but end of 2013, I was back with them, and I've been there ever since.
There you go.
So it turns out that instead of ramping things down, they kind of like ramped up considerably. And so I do 4 shows a week on 3 different stations. But they're all different shows. And that's why it works. So Top Rock is all the requests and new music lottery and buffoonery and really fucking about. Total Rock is kind of like the safer option if you don't want to be too offended. And then if you need green, safe for work, then you go to Switch. And that's basically the beerometer.
The beerometer.
The beerometer. The Beermanometer.
You can also request on his show. I request a song or donation so he can buy a beer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the least used button on the entire internet.
it's like buy me a beer.
Buy me a beer.
And of course you got Mr. Simon Can of the Metal Brethren show, who I just gave a shout out to before you came on.
And so, well, he's going to be brought because he does a Twitch thing. It was very easy to just shunt that onto our radio software, and play it simultaneously as he's on air, so it'll be live on the radio. And of course, you can get it on Tune. There's all these radio players now, Tune In, Radio Box, all of it. You can ask your Alexa to play Top Rock Radio or whatever, and I don't know if it works. I think you might have to search for it or something, but you know, I think Tune In Top Rock Radio works or something like that.
Something like that. I don't know how to do it.
I don't really use my Alexa. I do know you can change Alexa's name, and I've got an Alexa who lives in my Fire Stick, and I wanted to change her name to Cumslot, but Mrs. J wouldn't let me. So you know, I think it'd be brilliant to just sit there and go, "Come sluts, let's have some Red Dwarf." You know what I mean? But yeah, Mrs. J won't let me call Alexa "Come slut."
It's like, comes like, play some Total Consumption.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great band, by the way, people. Check them out.
Have some of that.
Because with Jim's show, with your show, Jim, it's just you talking, hello and welcome to the Jim Beerman show. And we got everyone wanky spanky.
Yeah, the Top Rock show is just.
Don't take it seriously, like
no, seriously, you can't do that. There's there's enough DJs taking it seriously, doing a much better job than I could taking it seriously.
Yeah.
So I stick to just being a bit of a laugh, a bit of a joke, and a lot of great music.
Yeah, like with this, and when I start my own little radio podcast.
So you'll be making your way onto Top Rock. We can do that.
Well, I'm still sorting it out, but I'll do a few things, uploading.
Yeah, but you think I've practiced
cloud and
with
stuff
Simon now.
Yeah,
I've practiced with Simon's cock. Your cock's going to be no problem.
And there you go, people. When you check out his show, you expect this humor. You go to his festival, you expect this humor. You meet him outside the festival, he's still the fucking same.
There's one thing that always tickled me. You used to get people come up to you and, "Oh, you sound just like you do on the radio." And I think somebody's like, "Well, of course I do. This is how I talk."
Yeah, look.
You think I've got some special vocal effects? No.
Yeah. And the reason why Simon knows who you are is because I told him about Beermageddon. He came in 2016, 17, 18. He missed 2019 because I think he was off somewhere else.
Yeah, I always used to play him up because he always had a hotel. And he'd get his lift back to his hotel and be playing, get back to the hotel.
Go back to the hotel, Mr. Can.
Have a staff look after you and take you back.
Oh, would you like some eggs Benedict?
Yeah. But
sorry, Simon,
one year
but
we'll
you
get him
deserve
camping.
this.
I don't think he does the camping side. I don't think he's into
Well, he did it. I know. I think he did come he came 2018, didn't come 2019.
Yeah.
That now.
And 2020, obviously, no one came.
No one came. But some people drove there anyway and just...
They did, actually. He went around just a little bit of a... Because the venue was open. He just wouldn't give us a license to play any bloody bands there.
No bands, but just stick on the bands that would have
They all went and just had a weekend of it.
Yeah, just stick the music up, stick the bands on your Spotify or whatever you got, and just pretend you're watching them again. But then it's still not.
I was always tempted to go for a day, but I mean, the thing is, I
wanted to, but I don't drive.
I've been very paranoid about this COVID. I have to admit. So
yeah, I've been a bit paranoid. Just don't go out very much.
If I'm not there for, doing Beermageddon, is it worth the drive over and putting yourself maybe at risk and getting because I am a very huggy bloke when I've had a drink.
So am I. Well, I'm huggy, sober, all drunk.
Yeah, we do that sort of thing, and I thought, no, it's not worth risking me. It's not worth risking anyone else. So
yeah, that's what I worry about. Just
and I would have probably just sunk into depression knowing that I should have been there seeing bands.
Yeah, because I wanted to see bands. I wanted to see you, your wife, your daughter.
Because we were going to be going the
just
Halloween.
The whole Bierman family.
there was a Halloween show.
Yeah,
and I was going to be comparing it. It was one of Martin's bashes, and that was looking very good. But it was Halloween, end of October. Suddenly, all the tears came back in again. That's why I'm saying October, November, you'll see it pick up again and ramp up after, August, September. All we need to do is just behave ourselves till the end of March.
Yeah,
And we'll
I
be
just
okay.
missed everybody not going to Beermageddon. I missed you and your family.
Yeah.
The
There's a lot
extended
of people that
family
we only
being
see
us,
once a year.
like the extended
Beermageddon was
family,
a hell
us.
of a lot.
Like there's you guys who like the Beermans, and then there's just the extended lot.
There's people that we've lost. Mark Rowley,
Yeah,
we lost him a couple of weeks ago.
yeah.
Boydie earlier on last year, we lost Boydie. They're people that I only really see at Beermageddon.
Yeah, that's
I'm never going to see them again.
Yeah,
It's like heartbreak.
that's basically the only time I ever saw any
Yeah.
of them. And then obviously when Boydie passed away, I was like, oh fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's going on? Like
that's it. So I mean, it plays an important part for people in just seeing friends and people that we class as family. They are our Beermageddon family. We say that it's a community, it's a family gathering where we're all together,
we
are all brothers and sisters
music.
for that one weekend.
We all love a lot of the same bands. There might be some bands that are like, oh, I don't like them. It's like, that's okay. No worries.
Right, they just nip out the venue and have a sit out in the sunshine, have a look through all the stalls, and then next band's on in a bit.
Lucky enough, with Beermageddon, there's no clashes, so you can just go back to your tent for a bit.
That's it. You see, I can't be doing that. All these clashes, and how do I choose which bands I'm going to see if I've got clashes on?
I try to do that, but then I end up like whichever festival it is, one band's clashing with another. But Bloodstock's actually been quite good with that, with the headliners. So when the headline on the main stage finishes, the headline on the Sophie stage will begin.
Yeah.
So they've been very good with that, and even some of the support bands they've.
But I honestly,
that band's playing, finishing, go to that one.
I couldn't book two bands and put them on at the same time because I'd want to see both bands. That's the idea of me booking Beermageddon. I book bands that basically I want to see, or bands that I've seen and think that everyone else should see. That's how it works with my booking system. People say, how do you book? The majority of bands I book are bands I've seen live, or they're bands that I really want to see live. And that's how my booking goes. There's no competitions or buy your way onto a festival. And believe it or not, I get, even with Beermageddon at our size, I get offers for people to buy a slot on Beermageddon.
Buy a slot.
And I say, no, that is not how we do.
That's
not
not
work
how you
that way.
Work.
It's not how we work at all. But then when I first had one of those mails, and it wasn't just a chancy band, this was from a large kind of like booking agent offering to pay me to put their bands on. How that works, I don't know, because a band is obviously paying them to get them shows. So it must be funneling this. It all sounds a little bit dodgy. It's not something that I could get into.
Well, yeah, you put the bands on that you've heard before, and you've had that previous.
If I see a band and I think, they will go down well at Beermageddon,
yeah, definitely,
they will get an email from me.
Or even there's breaking bands as well.
Yeah, I mean, look. I
asked about breaking bands.
I've took a punt on bands that I've heard like one single, one album. They've never played a gig, but I thought I want to see that live. I want to see how good that is live, and that's when you get these bands coming and playing their debut shows at a festival. There's not many festivals that put a band on for the debut show.
No, not very many.
I can't think of any from my mind at all.
No, I can't. Well, I can't really think. Not festival-wise, but I saw my mate's band Seprivation first ever show in 2011 at the Croft. It's not called the Croft anymore. It's called the Crofters' Rights. But when it was the Croft, they had one room which was like a big stage, and then a little room with a small stage, and it was in that. And you can actually see me in the video wearing a Phantasm shirt.
Brilliant. But yeah, I mean, 2019. I keep going to say last year. 2019, we had two bands playing their debut show, and it, just in a string of bands. Because if I hear something through the radio, I think it's going to be that I want to see it, I'll make it happen. No one's going to make this shit happen for you unless you do it yourself a lot of the time.
Yeah, because
and
what we did for Herbicidal, we just got together, rehearsed, and the only reason I got in that band is because it was my mate's 30th at the house she's staying at with the bass player of the band. They were playing some old. Is the bassist my mate Ollie's other band, Warrior Pope, which is more on the drone doom side. They were playing some of that, and they just had a microphone. It's like, oh, I can do some shouting, screaming, whatever. It's like, oh,
there we go.
And I did that, and they added me to the chat. It's like, oh, do you want to join our band Herbicidal? And I don't think we even had the name Herbicidal yet. And then played our first gig in 2019, October 2019, at the Griffin.
Yeah.
With only two bands. There was Doomicidal from Bath, and then it was us.
At least you remember to have someone on with you.
We had someone.
300% proof. We didn't even get that.
We only had that one, and I think why most people were there is like, oh, cool, there's a new band we should check out. But I think it was because I'm always at so many gigs. They just came to see what I was gonna do. I was shouting into a bloody microphone. What did you think I was going to do?
That's how it should be, though. I mean, I
wished happy birthday to my mate Alex.
I do remember years ago. I mean, I go to gigs, like I mentioned here in Birmingham. You'd be able to go to a gig every night of a week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There'd be a gig on somewhere. And you would have bands in those gigs either giving you a flyer or a little mixtape of different bands, and in the flap inside the tape, it'd have all the dates that they're playing around Birmingham. And so you'd take that home. If you listened to it and liked them, then you'd know exactly where they're playing. You used to get that a hell of a lot more with bands just getting out there and promoting themselves. But of course, these days it's a different animal. Yeah. Because bands, they're told not to play in their own town too many times. And they're having to play all around the country. And you can't expect a band from Birmingham to run up to Manchester to go and pass out some bloody CDs with a few dates on with one date, because that's the one date they're playing in Manchester all year. So, it's a totally different beast to how it used to be. But those were happy days.
Happy days.
And, you kind of like, you'd be there and sort of like a band would come off stage. Oh, you're right. Oh, is this your band? I'll give it a listen. Maybe we can sort out some gigs together. And then the next 3 weeks later, they're fucking gigging somewhere. They're playing a show together somewhere, and you see him again and you think, oh, yeah, he was handing out his bloody tapes, wasn't he?
So I was bloody tapes on there. Bloody CDs or got a T-shirt or something.
Yeah, I'd love to see a slight return to the old days, but it's just totally different now.
Because the old days were when I had guests on before mentioned tape trading.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you get that all the time. Like, I mean, once again,
mainly in the death metal scene.
You think about all those tapes that people gave you at gigs. You go in with a pocket full of the fuckers, and like those would go all around the fucking place. You know what I mean? And everyone could end up across the other side of the country just from being passed around at gig to gig. But
yeah, because like one of my favorite death metal bands would have done that, like Boltfur, for example, Benediction.
Yeah.
Cerebral Fix, like they were more on the punk thrash crossover side, but still, even bands in America, Morbid Angel and all that, Death Massacre, doing tape trading, they find out about all these different bands, and now
it's all about
it's easier now because of the internet.
I think the problem is now there's a hell of a lot out there, and I like to think that I mean I get a lot of promos through doing radio, and like people are still saying to me, oh, you need to check this out, you need to check this out, you need to check this out. Or I'll be scrolling through social media and I'll see a band and like, they'll have a little video up and I think, oh, I wonder what that's like. And I barely scratch the surface, and this is my job. You know, how anyone, and this is the one reason why I think radio still has a massive part to play. I mean, it's all very well getting what Spotify recommends you, but having a DJ, and this is a great, what I love about doing my Top Rock shows with all the requests, people are all getting their favorite bands or things that they maybe haven't heard in years or never heard before in some cases. And it's coming up on the radio. And, you know, I've got a little bit of info on the press release and that. But you have radio is more important now than it ever has been for people discovering new music. As long as you find the right fucking stations.
Yep.
A lot of the kind of like FM stations, and I am looking at things like Radio One now. I'm going away from metal, but you know, for the average listener on the streets who's into his mainstream, you're not getting a taste of what's out there at all on the likes of Radio One or Heart. I don't even listen to the commercial stations, but they're playing very few A-listers and B-listers. But if you're hitting the underground, the internet radios, the community radios are brilliant. You take Switch, you know, each Thursday night is rock and metal. We've got like Carl, myself and Martin, 3 completely different shows, but encompassing rock and metal. And some nights you'll have dance music, some nights you'll have grime or whatever. I be honest, I don't listen so much but metal, but you know, and through the day they can have the mainstream and they'll play anything from the, you know, swinging 60s right up till today. You've got something for everyone. Those community stations I've seen over the past few years, especially a lot of rock and metal shows popping up on the community stations. It's a great place to go. I mean, I always play the kind of like underground stuff that you may not have heard before.
Yeah, that's great.
People love it. So, I mean, they're all there. And you've got the internet side of it as well, which are playing so many different, every DJ has a different set of PR people and a different set of bands that are in touch with them. And so each show is kind of like pretty different, but you can always get something that you may be aware of as well. Radio is much better than the likes of Spotify or anything like that. Get into radio, and bands out there, make sure you're speaking to radio people. Make sure you're speaking to those DJs, because if you don't know you're out there, they're never going to play you.
That's it. Because you play, like I mentioned, my band Herbicidal. You played on there. You played
What's
on Herbicidal.
Yes,
you played my band, so
I did, and I played them on Switch, and I played them on Total Rock, and they've been played on Top Rock. You know what I mean? And those people have heard you, and they're aware of you now. People listening in, you know. You've been an FM station in Birmingham, you know, unless you speak to a radio guy, how else are you going to get onto that radio station in Birmingham?
Yeah,
you know,
that's the thing.
Or anywhere in the country.
Yeah, and that's what I like about your show, because you get bands that are, I know who they are, because before one of my songs, because I actually just self-promotion now, requested one of my songs, and it was On After Bathory, Blood, Fire, Death, which is a great song. And then there's us straight after. It's like
that's it. And that's how radio should be, in my opinion.
Like Viking
you don't need to, especially in this day and age. People want to be challenged. There are a lot of people. Every station will have its station sound. You know, kind of like through the daytime, it's drive time, it's breakfast show. They will have their sound. And it will be much the same kind of music. But that's just in the same way as saying my show is metal. It's much the same kind of, but there's such a scope in metal, I can fit everything into my show.
You just fit everything there. You got, because I'm looking at the request and I thought, oh, Undergang's on here. I'll put that on, some nasty sounding death metal from Denmark.
Hang on, let's just have a quick look.
And you're
I've got 155,000 songs available for request. 155,000.
That is mental.
You know, and you got no adverts in that. You've got no
adverts. Just
no, as I say, no adverts, no bullshit, just heavy.
Yeah, just your intro, then the music, then you saying some things, more music, saying things. Oh, done with requests. Music lot, new
24
music.
hours a day, you can just drop by, listen to put on a few of your favourite songs, listen to a few other people's songs, listen to what the auto DJ throws up. That's another great thing about this software. It's actually got a slight AI to it. And if you find there's a lot of death metal requested, it will add more death metal in to the mix. There's a lot of black metal being requested. You get more black metal in it. Me dog's having a bark. Can you hear her?
Yeah. And we sing your dog on some shows.
Yeah. I'm not letting her in now because she'll just jump all over.
She'll just go blah 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 blah.
That's it. It comes and gives me a good licking.
Well, you have now a new person who's going to request a lot of underground music, and that is Simon. Mainly on the brutal death doom, gore grind, porno grind, whatever he's going to play.
Mr. Tickle always gets. He goes to like the grind, and it's sort of like I spend more time introducing the song than it actually lasts for. Yeah, there's that one that was like 3 seconds, and I'm there. Not even turning the mic off for this, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like the first stream he did, he was like, "This is the next band." It says in the band name, talks about them for a bit, says the song, just shuts up, and that's it. One is going to be more like just underground, just weird sounding not weird sounding death metal bands, obscure death metal bands. People
there are some, and some I struggle with,
and some thrash,
and some I just tear my face off. And that's another good thing about it. Same can be said in every genre, and there's some stuff that I can struggle with. I mean, the real brutal death, and I do mean the real brutal,
really low gutturals, chugging guitars,
piggy brutal, I call it. And I like
the slams.
Few songs. Once I've had a few songs, if I'm seeing a band like that live, after a few songs, I find me innards are starting to liquefy, and I have to go and have a little bit of fresh air because I haven't just turned into fucking jelly with all the fucking complete bass running. But yeah, but once again, I mean, that's a great thing with radio. You're not getting hours and hours of the same thing, because it can, you know, I wouldn't say get tedious, but it's nice to be able to mix things up.
Yeah,
that's the great thing about radio, and different people requesting different songs mixes it up very well.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. That your show exists, and there's podcasts that do just the podcast episodes. Like there's my mate Phil, who does Phil's Breakfast Metal, where he goes into so much depth on what he's talking about. It's ridiculous.
I used to do that myself, and I just sort of like gave up in the end. It was way too much. I used to do features, and I'd sit and I'd know everything about that band, and it literally would fall off my tongue, and I could talk 10, 15, 20 minutes about a band. But I would find for that knowledge, I would spend the best part of a day looking up on the band and, you know, finding every, you know, obscure fucking facts about them. And I thought, you know, in this day and age, it's the internet. If people need that much information, it's at their fingertips and they'll go and look for it. They don't need me telling them so I kind of like and now it's pure laziness on my part. I'll be honest, pure laziness.
Yeah, I always do too much research, and then people talk me like, you know too much about this. And now some people have said, oh, you know too much about this. Well, you should talk to my mate Phil. His knowledge is ridiculously fucking stupid. How much he knows.
I gave up in the end.
What I mean stupid, I just mean the amount of knowledge he just crams in to these episodes is just.
You've got to have a good mind for that. I know for a fact my mind used to be a lot better than it was before, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
My mind is not. It doesn't hold. Maybe I've just filled it with too much beer, or maybe it's just too much information.
Too much information.
You know,
You're drinking the beer to just get rid of half of it.
I just can't. I just can't keep up with it anymore. So, you know, I find what I do. You know, if in doubt, talk about cocks.
Let's talk about cocks.
Talk about cocks, and then,
That's
you know, you're pretty safe. You know, if you run out of fucking. And also the amount of times I've like done research, and there's been something that I have got wrong, and people have picked up on it. You know.
Oh,
You know, there's always someone who's ready. No, I think you'll find that bootleg was released in 1962, not 1963, and you're like, bollocks! I spent 3 hours fucking researching that.
It's like earlier when I said it, I thought it was Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons. Then you corrected me.
That's it. It's a slightest thing, you know. But
you know, I don't mind being corrected. It's like if I got it wrong, please tell me. But don't be like, don't be a snob about it.
Like I say, the way I look at it, everyone has got the bloody internet in front of them. It's on the phones.
It's on their phones.
It's on the tablets and, you know, everything. If they want to, right, who's this band? What's the name, Jim? Oh, it's such and such.
Such and such band.
I've got all the information I need right here. You know what I mean?
It's like, who's this band then? I don't know. Such and such. What they play? Such and such metal. What are the song titles? Such and such. You know.
That's it. All you need is a little thing like I'll get a promo through, and if it's tagged wrong, I'm there, and I've added that 3 years ago. How am I supposed to know what the proper tagging is?
You know.
So yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, I for me personally, I don't do that anymore. But there's a lot of people who do like all that information. They love it,
including myself.
Eat information,
including myself. I mean, I'm reading the book called "Rotting Rage to Misery: The History of Finnish Death Metal," and there's so many things in it I didn't know about half of the bands I like.
But the thing is, with me, I'd learn that, and then a week later, it's gone.
I'm like that with certain things. It's like, okay, I got to remember, it's this color of paint I need for the wall.
Yeah.
Oh shit! What was the color again? Should have written it down on my hand.
Go and get two things from the shops, and you can only remember one when you get in.
Right, I'm going to go get milk and bread. You come back with, well, the two things you said you were going to get, but a little more. Or you just come back with a crate of beer and you forgot.
The amount of time Tracy,
you were meant to get milk and bread.
Go and get milk and bread for me, and I'll get down there. I'll be on the phone to her. What am I getting again?
It's like,
yeah. She'll have milk and bread. I said, write it down.
It's like, milk
and
bread.
Write it down.
So, what are we getting again? Milk and bread. Right. Doritos and beer. Got it.
See, beer's always there. And beer's first thing that you're thinking of. Always got to get the beer.
To be honest, that's what I think of. To be honest, that's what I think of when I go to the shops. It's like, beer.
That's all, what you always get. That's the one constant on any of my radio shows. I've got a beer in my hand.
You've got a beer in your hand.
Yeah, that's the one.
You're usually 2 down already, or you're like 4
usually
down.
a couple in to warm up.
And then by the end of it, you're just open a lot more and just saying the most random things ever. But
it's when I get on the King Goblins and the McEwen's Champions and the alcohol level goes
bloody
up.
King Goblin, yeah. That'll sort you out, wouldn't it?
I had one of those the other night. I'd run out of hobgoblins, so I had to have the Kings, and I'm just very, very tipsy by the end of it. Talking us about bollocks.
And very, very tipsy.
Very, very drunk.
Like that. It's like, but for people who want to check out your show, we can find you on obviously Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch. I'm on Twitch. Jim Bierman.
Jim Bierman show.
TopRockRadio.com. You're always on there. Switch is switchradio.co.uk. Total Rock, totalrock.com. Quick mention, Total Rock is, of course, the radio station that was set up by Tommy Vance back in the day. And his producer, Tony Wilson. And Tony still runs Total Rock now. So it's got massive history that, once again, I could reel off to you if I could remember it all. but it's all there on the internet. So Google Total Rock, and you will find out about all the history behind it. But that is a massive thing because I grew up once again as a youngster with Tommy Vance doing the Friday Night Rock show. So to actually be doing Total Rock now is a big thing for me. So
yeah. Well, you know,
that's well worth checking into as well. A little bit of
I'll
history
have a
behind
look
that
at
radio.
that. Yeah, I'll have a look at that actually. Yeah, because I need to learn about all these things. Like, I know to mute my microphone and then turn the music on.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking you got to share your screen audio in order for people to hear it. Is that right?
Yeah, if you're doing it on Twitch, yeah. But it's not that hard. It just picks up everything that goes through the desktop.
So it's just like,
So, you know, I use like radio broadcasting software because I actually have a radio streams going out as well. But you could play stuff from just your Window Media's player and or whatever, or Spotify or Bandcamp
Spotify,
or
iTunes,
anything like that, and anything that plays on your desktop will go straight through onto Twitch. So Twitch is something that I started back in March last year, and my daughter had been using Twitch for gaming and things like that.
That's what it's known for mainly.
That's it. But she says you should try it for your radio, and it's turned out to be a really good thing to do. People like
definitely.
it, and there's a lot we can do, and you've got a visual engagement that they quite like, and you've got the chat. We always had the chat room over the years anyway, but you've got the chat room in there as well that people like using. So that was quite. I never thought I'd be in this position when I started up Top Rock. We had 2 streams. One was 64 kbps, and I think we had one that was 28 kbps for dial-up modems. So that's how, you know, now we've got, you know, high-res bloody video going out, and, you know, we have a 320k stream, and for people with slower internet, we have a 128k stream. So, you know, technology, I never thought years ago I'd be in this situation where I've got video going and people can interact as we always had. I always thought radio should be interactive. You should have the requests. People should be able to just type in and me read it out on the air for them. That's always, I think we're one of the very last kind of like on-demand radios in that way, because we just run on dated stuff. But I still think that is an integral part of doing radio.
Yeah.
You know, so we've got everything coming together, the old ways and of course the new up-to-date 21st century technology, you know, mashed up, and it seems to work and people do enjoy it. So
yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah,
and, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it, and I hope more people who watch this episode
will check you out all about me.
Go on Twitch. I'll link your Twitch channel down in the description below, and Top Rock, Total Rock.
Come and join us.
Come and join the fun.
Sundays and Wednesdays on Top Rock, Tuesdays on Total Rock, Thursdays on Switch. So the Switch isn't on Twitch.
No,
Switch sounds too much the same.
It's only Top Rock Radio on Twitch, and that's mainly Sundays.
Top Rock and Total Rock are both on Twitch.
Both on Twitch, so that's like Sundays, Wednesdays for Top Rock.
Sundays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays.
Sundays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays. That's the only really days he's really doing any of this stuff. Fridays and Saturdays, his schedule's totally clear.
Gigs usually, but now we've got Simon joining us on monthly Saturdays.
You got him.
Yeah, so that's your Saturday night sorted.
Then I'll fill in some spot later.
Yeah, that's it.
Somewhere down the line, but let me just get my just get it all done first.
Let me
get it all done first, and then I'll be on.
And I suppose if anyone else wants to have a go,
anyone wants to have a go,
have a chat,
have a go at doing the live streams on Twitch or anything.
If you feel that you want to have a bash at it, no one's going to judge you. You can give it a go, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't.
And want any more advice on radio stuff and how to string your music, talk to Jim, and he'll give you all the know-how.
That's it. More than happy to help anyone moving ahead in doing this as a career or getting into it.
I'm just doing this sort of thing just like a hobby because I needed something to do because I was just like, oh, I'm bored. What the hell am I going to do?
Nice to be able to talk to someone
and just talk to metalheads from all over the place, which is great because hopefully I'm still going to get some metal musicians from like Australia, New Zealand, and places like that. Hopefully. So if any of you are in those bands, please give me a message.
That's it, yeah.
Give me a message, and we'll just have a nice old chat like this. And
put that in the description. If anyone else wants to come and have a chat with me, boom, there you go.
Anyone wants to come and have a chat, message me, and I'll get back to you when I can or whenever.
We'll do it. Make it happen.
But before we end this chat, I was going to ask you about your favourite bands you've seen live.
I
I'm not asking you top 10.
No, I absolutely hate questions like that because number one,
I should have asked it first.
I always forget half of them.
Well, just name like
you know
two.
what I mean. And then I walk away afterwards and I think, oh, I really love such a band, and I didn't mention them. But my favourite bands to see live are the bands I haven't seen before. So that's my political answer.
That's a good answer
to a great question, because bands, I love seeing bands and discovering new music, and that's what everyone out there should do.
That's what I do as well. I just find new bands and I tell my mates about new bands. I got a mate who's like, you just check out too many bands. And like, I'm a music lover, for crying out loud. I got to find these new bands and listen to them if I like them or not. If I don't like them, I'm not going to listen to them again.
And every band who's played Beermageddon, those are my other favourites.
And the ones at Beermageddon, of course, his favourites. And well, that's I think that's all we have.
Are we there? Well, I thank you very much for having me on, Jakey. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for appearing on as the 21st guest.
Yeah, very first.
Metal Chat. And again, you want to check out Top Rock Radio.
Yes.
There's the Twitch channel. Again, with Total Rock Radio. There's Switch. Which is not on Twitch.
Find me on Twitch and just join in the fun.
Well, look, just go on Twitch.
You can tell which show it is by the amount of times I say fuck.
So that's the one. And if you're going to hear the F word a lot, you're going to see beer drinking a lot, and you're going to sometimes hear expulsion of gas from his mouth.
Yes, I do. Okay, and I've done well today. I've not burped, but my beer has run out, so it is time to go and replenish.
I've run out. Yeah. I got Guinness.
I've got more hobgoblins downstairs. So
yeah, I need to get some more hobgoblin. Actually, there's a shop nearby I can get some from. I'm not going to do it now. I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on, Jake. It's been brilliant. Been a lot of fun.
Say hello to the family for me, and I hope to see you in person.
Yes, again. Soon.
And give you a big hug.
We need it soon.
And
you take care.
Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I've got to work out how to turn this off now.
You turn it off when he does.
There we go. Stop video. Bye.
Bye. And there you have it, folks.
There we go.
There we go. He's still here.
I got that.
There we go. Oh, funny fucker. That's Jim Bierman, people. Great guy. Fantastic bloke. I just say great guy then fantastic bloke. Shut up. Yeah, so again, go on Twitch. It's the Jim Bierman Show. It'll have the request button down below. That'll take you to the Total Rock radio station. But if you're watching it on Twitch, be sure to lower the volume when you get on the website, otherwise you're just going to hear his voice twice. Go on the requests. Find the band you want. The song you want from the band. But if they don't have the band, just keep typing out and you find it eventually. So thank you for tuning in, people. Stay safe. Drink some beer or whatever you choose to drink. Now I'm not going to tell you what to do. And keep discovering new bands. And yeah. And big thanks to Jim because Simon, who we mentioned, Mr. Tickle, formerly known as Wanky Spanky, He's going to hate me for this. And, yeah, no, I'm happy because it's been a fun chat. And I will see you all in the next chat, which is on Tuesday via Zoom. So come and check out a man named William from a black metal band all the way in Wales. Take care of yourselves. Yeah, just take care of yourselves.